ladies and gentlemen, here's a recap of today's texture lesson. Over here in Google Classroom, you're going to see you have two attachments to your assignment. You have the PDF right here on the left. That's the one that you would use to print out if you're going to do this worksheet on paper and if you have a printer available. Here on the right, you have the JPEG. The JPEG is the one that you would use to import into Sketchpad. And let me just quickly show you how you go about doing that. So you would click on the JPEG. It's going to bring this window up here, and right up here in the upper right hand corner, you're going to see three dots next to the printer icon. You're going to click open in a new window. And once this opens up into the new window, you're going to have this icon right here, that little bar with the arrow pointing down. When you hover over it, it should say download. When you click it, it will download it to your device and make it available for you to work on digitally. All right, so here I am in Sketchpad, sketchpad.io/Sketchpad. Links are in our virtual classroom. To get my worksheet into Sketchpad, what I would have to do is click on that happy face there, click on load your own image, and then it will take you to where your files are stored so that you can work on this digitally and import it digitally. Now, I showed you how to do wood in class today by using the line tool. Here we go. And the first thing that we did was, of course, create some straight lines. So I'm going to create my first straight line. I have to click on the arrow to deselect it, and then I can create my next straight line. Now, the thing about creating textures digitally or on paper is to look up some textures on the internet. Either go to Google or go outside or look in your house to see if you can find some textures that you can look at while you're doing this. Now I'm going to switch over to the pencil tool, and yes, I can use that zoom to zoom in on my sheet so I can work on it a little bit easier. And if you remember from class today, I said that a wood grain pretty much starts out with a squiggly line. And then you're just going to follow that squiggly line. Now those lines can get closer or a little farther away, depending on what type of wood you're trying to duplicate. And, you know, wood has imperfections into it. It does have some knots, and it does have different kind of spirals. So it's always good to look at actual wood that you're trying to duplicate. So wood texture is fairly easy to do digitally, and so are the other two, the bricks and the stones, by using some of the same basic ideas that we used creating wood. Now, don't forget while you're working, to make sure you save the Sketchpad file, because we're not asking you to complete this whole worksheet today. I'm only asking you to do 3, wood, bricks, and stones. And then, of course, make sure you save it as a PDF or a JPEG so that you can attach it to the assignment in Google Classroom. If you do not save it as one of these, I will not be able to see your work. If you save it as a link, all I will get is a link to Sketchpad, not to your work. All right, so now I'm going to call up my demo cam here, and I will show you how you can do this same assignment using paper and pencil. Now, if you do not have a printer to print out the worksheet, not a problem. Just get a blank piece of paper, preferably without lines, and go ahead and draw your grid on your paper. There are 9 boxes. You will have to complete all 9 boxes for your grade. I've already done wood, bricks, and stones here from my other class, but yes, I'm going to show you how to do that on a blank to start with. All right, so of course I'm going to use my ruler or my straight edge. This one here is just a folded up piece of paper. A notepad or a folder or a book will also work well to help you draw some straight lines. And then, of course, drawing the wood texture on paper is the same as drawing it here digitally. So we start out with a squiggle, and then you just go ahead and follow that squiggle by making your lines closer and farther away. All right. Don't forget, wood has those kind of knots. So you might want to put some knots in it. Do make sure, once again, that you're looking at some textures to help you out. Now, yes, I did show you some shading. So you can use your fancy blending tool if you have one, or if you don't have one, a Q-tip will work just as well as a blending tool, or you can use your little finger there to blend your shading together just to make it look a little bit more natural. All right, and darken up in between your wood slats so that you can see the separations between the two. Now, of course, when you do bricks, going to use that straight edge again. And if you're doing this digitally, same thing applies. Use that digital straight line tool. Look at some real life bricks. Look outside. Look in your house. Do you have bricks in your house? Do you have some bricks outside? Can you go on Google and look up some bricks? Remember, we said that the bricks are kind of staggered. They don't just all line up with each other, because that's how brick masons design a wall, so that the water flows down the wall nicely. And then, of course, you can go ahead and use your finger or your Q-tip or your shading tool to darken up in between the bricks to give them that little bit of shadow. You can also add cracks into your bricks and little speckles, because, of course, bricks are not perfect. They are rough. They have texture to them. You can even add a little bit more shading to it. And doing the rocks and stones, matter of fact, is quite similar to doing the bricks here. So I'm just going to quickly skip over to that. And you do that by drawing just some random circle shapes near each other. And then do the same thing that you did with the bricks. Fill in between the cracks to make it look like the ground underneath. And yes, once again, make sure you're looking at maybe some stones. Look up rocks and stones on Google. Go outside. Maybe you have a stone pathway or stones in your kitchen that you can look at to try and duplicate what you see. Now, next class, we'll be doing 3 different textures, and of course, you're going to have to come up with 3 on your own. And here I'm just adding a little bit of shading around the edges of my rocks, just to give them a little more, 3-dimensional look. Some dots, some speckles. Yes, they can be cracked. So you get the basic idea. And here was the one that I had kind of completed earlier today with my other class. You can see how I finished that up. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a great and wonderful rest of your day. I hope this little tutorial helped you out with creating your textures. You have a great day.